Have you ever noticed when you really set your mind on something, it kind of just happens, almost like you willed it into existence? Today, we're going to be exploring this idea. It's called the law of deliberate intent.
Yeah, that's a great way to kick things off. What's really fascinating about this law, it's sometimes called the law of creation. It's not just about like wishing for things to change. It's about taking an active role
Yeah.
in shaping your own reality.
Okay, so this isn't just, positive thinking and vision boards and all that. Are we talking about something deeper?
Much deeper. We're going to be looking at teachings
Yeah.
that were channeled through Abraham Hicks. And we won't get into the specifics of, who Abraham Hicks is. But the core idea here is that we're all creators. We can approach our lives with the same intentionality as an artist planning a masterpiece or an architect designing a skyscraper.
So instead of just being along for the ride, we're actually in the driver's seat, choosing where we want to go and
Plotting the course. Precisely. And, just like a driver, needs to understand the rules of the road. We need to understand how our thoughts and emotions play a role in this creative process.
Okay. Thoughts and emotions. Now, the source material that we're looking at uses this analogy of thoughts as seeds and emotions as soil. Can you break that down for me a little bit? Because, sometimes the stuff can sound a little out there.
I totally get that, but just think about it for a second. If you want to grow a beautiful garden, right, you need more than just seeds. You need fertile soil for those seeds to actually take root and to flourish. And your thoughts are like those seeds, your desires, your goals, your aspirations. But it's your emotions, things like joy and love and excitement, that actually create the right environment for those thoughts to grow and to manifest in your life.
So if I'm constantly stressing about, an upcoming presentation at work or something, that anxiety could actually contribute to a negative outcome. Like I'm almost fertilizing the wrong seeds.
That's exactly it. Fear and doubt and worry are like weeds, choking out the potential of your positive thoughts. The law of deliberate intent suggests that by shifting your emotional state to a place of confidence and anticipation, you're creating a much more fertile ground for success.
Got it. So it's not enough to just think positive thoughts. You really have to feel them too. Like our emotions are the fuel that powers this whole process.
That's a really great way to put it. And then there's another layer to this idea of vibration. I know that word can sound a bit woo-woo, but just stick with me for a minute.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
Okay, so think about two tuning forks, right? When you strike one, it vibrates at a specific frequency. If you bring another tuning fork that has the same frequency close by, it'll start to vibrate too, even though you didn't actually touch it. It's called resonance.
Oh, yeah. I remember learning about that in science class. But how does that relate to us as people?
Well, the source suggests that we, as human beings, we also emit energetic vibrations based on our thoughts and our emotions. So positive emotions raise our frequency, negative emotions lower it. And just like those tuning forks, we tend to attract experiences in people that vibrate at a similar level.
Okay. So if I'm putting out good vibes, I'm more likely to attract good things into my life, basically like attracts like.
Exactly. It's about aligning your internal state with what you want to experience externally. The more you can cultivate positive emotions, the higher your vibrational frequency becomes, and the more you become a magnet for positive experiences. And that kind of brings us to another really important point, which is the power of clarity and focus. When you're setting your intentions, you can think of it kind of like programming your GPS, right? If you only have a vague idea of where you want to go, you'll probably end up lost. But if you put in the exact address, your GPS can guide you there directly.
Right. So being crystal clear about what it is we want, not just like I want a better job, but I want to work at this company, doing this specific role, making this much money.
Exactly. The source material compares it to focusing a beam of light through a magnifying glass. Scattered light doesn't have much impact, right? But when you can focus it on a single point, it can generate enough heat to start a fire. And your intention works the same way. The clearer and more detailed it is, the more powerful it becomes.
I love that analogy, but here's where I get tripped up sometimes. I can like a super clear vision. I can visualize like crazy, but things still don't always work out the way that I planned. So does that mean the law of deliberate intent isn't working?
That's a great question. And it highlights another really important principle, which is this idea of alignment. Remember the symphony analogy from earlier? For symphony to sound harmonious, every instrument needs to be playing the right notes at the right time. I mean, if the violins are in tune, but the cellos are off key, it's going to sound terrible. Right?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be at that concert. So are you saying it's the same with manifesting our desires?
Exactly. Your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, your actions, they all need to be in sync with your intentions. Like if you're saying you want a new job, but deep down you believe you're not qualified, or you're not actually taking any steps to find one, you're creating resistance. That blocks the whole process.
So it's not enough to just sit around and daydream. We actually have to take some kind of action.
Absolutely. The law of deliberate intent is not passive. It's an active partnership between you and the universe. You set the intention, you cultivate the right energy, and then you take aligned action to bring that vision into reality.
That makes a lot of sense, but sometimes, even when I feel like I'm doing all the right things, putting in the work, visualizing, taking action, it's like I'm hitting a wall, things just don't seem to materialize, and it can be really frustrating.
I hear ya. It's so easy to fall into that trap of impatience. We want things to happen on our own timetable, and that's where the art of allowing comes in. The source material uses this analogy of a vessel. Imagine yourself as an empty cup, ready to receive the abundance that the universe has to offer.
Okay, I'm picturing...
Now imagine your hand is clenched tightly around that cup. How can anything be poured in if you're not open to receiving it?
I see what you mean. So it's about letting go of control, surrendering to the process.
It's more about releasing resistance, trusting that the universe has a plan, even if it doesn't unfold exactly as we envisioned. Sometimes what we think we want isn't truly in our best interest, and we might be redirected towards something even better. The key is to stay open and receptive to the possibilities.
Wow, that's a really powerful image. So we've talked about the power of thoughts and emotions, the importance of clarity and focus, the need for alignment, and now this art of allowing. There's like a lot to juggle. Where does someone even begin with all of this?
It can definitely feel overwhelming at first. But remember, it's a journey. It's about developing a new way of being in the world, approaching life with intention and awareness. And the amazing thing is, as you practice these principles, they become more and more integrated into your everyday life. You start noticing your thoughts and emotions more readily. You become more attuned to your intuition, and you naturally make choices that align with your deepest desires. So it becomes less about juggling and more about a natural flow.
I love that. You know, this whole concept of deliberate intent, it's about so much more than just, getting what we want. It's about creating a life that feels truly joyful and fulfilling.
You hit the nail on the head. It's not just a magic formula for wish fulfillment. It's a pathway to personal growth and transformation. It's about recognizing our power as creators and using that power to shape a reality that reflects our highest potential.
So this has been an incredible deep dive, and I know it's easy to get caught up in, the theoretical side of things, but I'm curious about the practical application. Someone's listening to this for the very first time and thinking, okay, this all sounds great, but where do I even start? What advice would you give them?
That is a fantastic question. And the source actually offers some really practical guidance. It starts with cultivating mindful awareness. So throughout your day, pay attention to your thoughts. What are the patterns? Are there any, negative or limiting beliefs that might be holding you back? Don't judge yourself. Just observe.
Okay, so just becoming like a curious observer of our own minds.
Exactly. And once you're aware of those negative thought patterns, you can start to shift them. The source calls this emotional alchemy. It's basically transforming negative emotions to positive ones. And it's not about denying or suppressing your feelings. It's about consciously choosing to focus on a more empowering perspective.
Can you give me like a real life example?
Absolutely. So let's say you're feeling anxious about an upcoming deadline. Instead of getting caught up in the stress, you acknowledge the feeling, but then you try shifting your focus to a sense of accomplishment that you'll feel once the project is complete. Or you think about the skills you're developing and the positive impact that your work will have them all.
So you're not trying to pretend you're not stressed. You're just intentionally choosing to focus on a more positive aspect of the situation.
Precisely. It's about training your mind to look for the silver lining, to find opportunities for growth in every challenge. And that's where visualization and affirmations can be incredibly powerful tools.
I was just going to ask about those. How do those fit into the picture?
So visualization helps to imprint your desires on your subconscious mind. So spend a few minutes each day vividly imagining yourself, living the life that you want, feeling the emotions associated with that reality. And affirmations are like positive self-talk. That reinforces those beliefs. So repeating phrases like, I am capable or I am worthy can actually reprogram your subconscious mind to align with your intentions.
So we're becoming more deliberate, not only in our actions, but in our thoughts and feelings as well.
Exactly. And remember, inspired action is still key. The universe responds to action. That stems from aligned intention. So while you're visualizing and affirming, also take practical steps toward your goals. Each action, no matter how small, reinforces your commitment and sends a powerful signal to the universe that you're serious about manifesting your desires.
So it's like we're putting all the pieces of the puzzle together, thoughts, emotions, actions, all working in harmony. It's pretty incredible when you think about it. We have so much more power than we realize.
And don't forget about the power of gratitude. Practicing gratitude regularly amplifies your positive vibration and invites even more blessings into your life. It's like you're saying to the universe, thank you for all that I have, and I'm open to receiving even more.
This has been such an insightful deep dive. I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of this fascinating concept for our listeners out there who might be feeling a little stuck or unsure of how to create the life they desire. What's the biggest takeaway you hope they walk away with today?
I think the biggest takeaway is that the law of deliberate intent reminds us that we are not victims of circumstance. We are powerful creators. We have the ability to shape our reality by consciously choosing our thoughts, cultivating positive emotions, and taking inspired action. It's about stepping into our full potential, not just as manifestors of material things, but as architects of a life filled with joy, purpose, and fulfillment.
It's such an inspiring conversation. I know I'm going to be thinking about this for a long time to come. And for those of you listening, if you're intrigued by what you've heard today, I highly encourage you to dive deeper into the law of deliberate intent. There's a whole world of information out there just waiting to be discovered. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought. If you could truly shape your reality, if you knew with absolute certainty that you could manifest anything you desired, what would be the first thing you would deliberately create? Take some time to reflect on that and remember, the power to create the life of your dreams lies within you.